these are dudes that look like us. Like these are like
it's an awful lot of honkies here.
Yeah.
Dude, you're looking pretty perky this morning, especially since I couldn't make the drive to give you your coffee enema this morning.
Yeah, man. You know, it's I've got to take it the old-fashioned way now. So without you here, buddy, I just can't do it on my own.
Alebrije Coffee.
That's it, man. That's it, man. We got that. I got that yesterday, and I'm enjoying a cup today. I feel so weird because making it, I'm not going to put it through my regular machine, right? So I had to go get this fancy little pour over, right? And of course, then I had to bend a couple of ears, you know, figure out, because there's a big science behind all this coffee stuff, man. And I mean, I knew that there was, but for me, it's always just been put the shit in a fucking, you know, coffee machine and you send it. But so I got this coffee, this pour over, and you know, it's got one of those reusable. It's so funny, man. The coffee world is another one that you can geek out about. You can get down the rabbit hole. There's people telling you, you should do it this way. You shouldn't do it this way. There's different coffee, like how you're grinding your coffee. It's a whole nother world that is very interesting. And I'm definitely, I'll scratch the surface just enough to learn to brew a nice cup of coffee, man. But how did you like yours? Because you made yours as well, right?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I did it in the mocha pot.
Right on.
Which is, for those who don't know, it's a little metal stovetop percolator. So we had those. I had a couple pour overs, but my wife keeps breaking them when she washes the dishes.
Yeah, I have a feeling this one won't last. I might have to try that one. Now that one's just a little bit different, right? Like you actually put the coffee grounds in the top, and then you actually heat the apparatus, or how does that work?
So the whole bottom half unscrews, and then you fill the bottom with water, and then there's a tray where you like perfectly pack a whole giant scoop in, and then you put it on top, and it has a screen in the bottom. And then you go, the top has a big stem in the middle with a hole in the top. So then you put it on a coffee burner, and then the water will boil through the coffee out the top. And then
sounds awful fancy, man.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
But we have our regular coffee machine's pretty cool. It's like one of those Ninja coffee where you can make like iced coffee or tea or.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
it has all these different settings.
I've been using this. It's a Black & Decker. I've had it probably for like 6 or 7 years now, and it's probably time for me to fucking retire the thing. But what I do for work is I'll make 12 cups of coffee. And the thing that's nice about this is that the coffee pot is not glass or anything. It's like this really thick, like insulated metal thing. So I'll walk out of the house, get in my van, and I've got this big old thermos, 12 cups of coffee to get me through the day, and I'm all wired by lunchtime. And but yeah, there was no way in hell that I was putting this coffee through that, man. Like I've even gone as far, like, because there's those little nuance, like you have to have like the right amount of water to the coffee grounds. I've got the fucking scale out. I'm fucking how many grams of beans I'm putting in there, and to the water. It's so wild, dude, but it's awesome. It's awesome. I'm glad that he's done it, and I hope he does more. So
we had to buy a new coffee grinder because my other one I've been using for mycology.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. I'm
not drinking coffee out of that now.
Well, that explains why my coffee is just a little bit different, because I still do use mine for mycology stuff. Just a little extra, you know.
Also, when does your skin turn purple?
Yeah, right. I'm just having a little microdose with my morning coffee. Don't mind me. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup, right? And then there's always been that joke where, you know, it's best part of waking up is Folgers in your butt. So I was like, oh, this is perfect. Why don't we do a coffee enema reel for, with the Alebrije coffee? And it turned out as gross as I had imagined. And but so fucking funny, man. And then with that little last part where it's coming out of the chape and going into your to your earth box is fucking hilarious. And my apologies. We apologized to Alebrije before we even made it. I had sent him a message in a chat, and I said, "Look, I'm sorry that we have to do this, but we're making a reel. I apologize." Luckily, he's a good sport, and he definitely he understands our humor, and he definitely seems like he enjoys it, or he just puts up with us, and he's like, "When will these guys go away?"
Yeah, I always when I started using the Soil Makers soluble newts, I was like, wow, it really turns the water brown. And then you and I were talking about that meme, and I was like, all right, hold on, we can put these two things together. I have access to faux poop water. Technically, it is poop water for a lot of it. It's like bag guano and photo pee and shit. Like,
yeah. Hey, probably almost as stinky as coffee butt water. But
right.
Oh, anyways,
no human manure was made in the making of this video.
No grateful was hurt in the making of this video. That was gnarly. You had a big old PVC pipe.
That pipe was so big, it was in the rafters of my laundry room, and I had to like shimmy it out.
Fucking hilarious, dude.
Look, I'm gonna grab the biggest one I have.
And then we when we make these reels, we spitball back and forth, and we'll come up with like a layout of how we're thinking the camera angle is going to be, and like what we're going to say. And of course, things change, once you set up the camera and you get doing it, and how it comes out of your mouth, how you say
or
it,
your butt.
Or your butt, yeah. And it changes, but dude, your little addition of the hazelnut was fucking hilarious. As soon as I saw it, because I didn't realize you were gonna do that, and as soon as I saw it, dude, I think I watched that video over like, I don't know how many times. It's fucking hilarious.
My wife came home from work that night, and she was like, "Really? You had to do my creamer like that?"
Yeah, you had a friend that had watched it, and they had sent you a picture of the hazelnut creamer in their fridge, I'm assuming, and they said, "Thanks for ruining."
Thanks for ruining all my creamers for me.
Too fucking funny, man. Before we get too far, some little bit of housekeeping that some videos that we've also released, keeping on the Alebrije train here. The fruity Flamadosa. Flamadosa?
Yeah.
So we have started that, and the first video was put out, and we got the boxes ready, and Alebrije joined us to kind of go over a little bit of an outline of his project, man. Fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was really fun. I had a fun time editing that.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. And this next video that we're working on for the episode number 1, most of the videos we make are kind of one and done, right? Like, I get down in there and we film it usually in one shot, and then send it. This one is going to be a video that we kind of took like a week to make, right?
Yeah.
Starting from the germination stage, kind of going over how I personally do it, and then documenting up until they sprouted. And that's today, man. So after I get done here, I'm going to head down there and check out. I've got 8 of them out of the 10. And it's been 5 days since getting the seeds wet, and 8 out of the 10 are above soil. So we have at least one of every single one, but most of them, we have 2 that have popped up. So I am super stoked.
It's pretty good. It's good germ rate.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We just want to make you proud, fellas.
Just yeah, man, it's been cool, man. I'm very excited for it. I'll tell you, my nerves have been through the roof. Of course, I'm going to be still worrying for a while, but like, boom, we've made a video. We're saying that we're gonna document this whole thing, and instead of it being like a seed to harvest, or how some people will do, they'll film for the whole duration of the grow, right, and then release that as one video. We're just releasing them as they go, right? So like tomorrow, something could go completely wrong, and all of those die. And now I've got nothing to show. And I've just promised Alebrije and everybody else that's been watching the videos that we're going to do this series. And it could be all fucked up. Just in a day, it could be gone. So,
well, if that happens, we just put out like a very heartfelt apology video with like slow music.
Crying.
Yeah. Like what YouTubers do when they get caught, like with underage girls and stuff.
I am so sorry.
I need to become a better person. Think more about my virtues.
But no, dude, it's
like, wow, what did he do? He had 8 seedlings die. He killed the younglings.
But yeah, man, it's we're just gonna let her rip, man. And it's that's one thing I love about Alebrije is he's just so open for whatever, he's just like, let's do it, let's go. Like no pressure, no nothing. I'm like, yeah, you say no pressure, and you may mean no pressure, but in my head and what I'm doing to myself is pressure.
It's like I'm holding the gun to myself.
Yeah. But no, everything's gonna go good. It's just like how we did with the breeding project, right? Like we didn't stock up the footage and release it. It's raw. It's not raw footage that we're releasing, but it's again, anything could happen at any time and it screw up, right? Like this is a release that he's got coming out down the line, and he's entrusted us with showcasing this line, these genetics for him, and it's an honor, and it's definitely a little bit of weight on the shoulders, but it's something we enjoy, right? I mean, it's something that's really awesome to be able to put this out and it just be on the fly, because this is who we are, right? And I've said it in the videos, I'm not going to try to be somebody or try to put out this, like fake image. Like my videos are me getting down in the garden and just doing what I do. I'm not trying to make them look fancy or do things differently. Just for a video's sake. Like I just do what I do and put it on video. Just happens to be that you make it digestible.
Yeah, if we were just releasing raw footage, I would actually be able to have a social life.
Damn.
We had our sleepover.
We did have a sleepover.
By sleepover being we both ate subs in the basement at 1 a.m. But
this is true. This is very true. Yeah. Got to go out, see an awesome concert. It was my first hip hop rap show that I've ever been to, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah, we went and saw Mr. Dibs, Sage Francis, and Atmosphere.
Yeah, man. It's obviously a lot of people know that that's not necessarily the music that I'm always listening to, but I've definitely gone down that path, growing up in high school, and I did listen to quite a bit of Atmosphere. I wouldn't say it was a lot, but I've listened. I've got some favorite songs from him for sure. So it was absolutely awesome to go see him.
Yeah, and like growing up in the time we did and being into punk rock, like you get exposed to Atmosphere and Sage Francis because they were in the Tony Hawk games. They were on the
that's right,
Punkorama compilations. So they had a lot of crossover and audience.
That's it. Yeah. Yep.
And even at the show, right? Like the audience looked like we were at a punk show.
It was funny, we got in there and I'm looking around. I'm like, these are dudes that look like us. Like these are like
There's an awful lot of honkies here.
Yeah. I was like, are you sure we're in the right place, man? Like, I don't know. This doesn't look like a rap gig to me.
Oh. I've seen Atmosphere. This was my second time seeing Atmosphere. But it was my first time seeing Sage Francis, who I've wanted to see since I was like 14. So that was awesome.
He's really cool, man. You know, he comes out and at least at this gig, I don't know how he does it with other ones, but you know, he doesn't have a DJ or anything. He comes out with his laptop, right?
Yeah.
His little backpack, takes his backpack off, puts his laptop up there, and he just fucking presses play, and that's it. And
he pulled down his own backdrop and put it on like a cape.
Yeah. So wild, dude. One guy that I kind of got introduced to this like one man front man. Like before this, like you'd go see bands, right? And when you see bands, that's a whole production, right? It's a whole thing that's up front. You're watching all these different people, but for it to be one person that can get up in front of a big crowd and be able to hold that crowd's attention, that's a pretty amazing thing for one person to do, let alone with just a fucking computer. So it goes to show, you know, he's obviously got it, man. And the stories and the way that he tells it, pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, there is the one point where he's like, all right, everyone give a shout out to my DJ, and he just points to his laptop.
Yeah. So funny, man. So funny. And he's been doing it for a long time. Really long time.
So I'll say when I started listening to him as a teenager, and I think he had 2 albums out at the time.
Okay. Has he been doing it longer than Atmosphere, like Slug and Anthony and all them?
I'm not sure. All right. Off the top of my head, without Googling it, I want to say Atmosphere's first album was 1995 and Sage Francis's first album was 1998. Yeah,
I mean, it's funny because like I said, that was I remember my my dad and my stepmother listening to Atmosphere. That was kind of like my first thing. And it's funny, like you know, one of the things that he said in one of his songs was this is the song that your parents were listening to while smoking weed in the bathroom or whatever. And I was like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's
all right. So it looks like Atmosphere's first album was 1997 and Sage Francis, his first like EP was 2000.
No shit. Okay.
So they're pretty close.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It was funny actually, again, because you know, I hadn't seen him. You know, I haven't looked up like pictures of Slug and like, so I know what he looks like. Like I've seen pictures. I've seen the album covers, and it was funny because they were getting ready just before the show. Right. And the people are coming out, setting up for Atmosphere to come out. And there's this guy that starts walking the stage, and he's got his hat. He's got a ball cap, and it's pulled down, so it's like just barely over his eyes, but he's clean shaven, and you know, he's just walking around. I can see that he's got his headset in, and he's waving around the microphone in front of the monitors to see, you know, I can imagine looking for feedback and stuff like that. And then you say to me, man, Slug's getting old. And in my head, I'm like, well, yeah, he's getting old. And I looked up at him and I was like, oh, that's like, because I just couldn't see him. And I didn't realize he was so much larger than that guy. Like Slug's a big dude. Like he's a large guy. And so then I was like, I just kind of looked up at the stage. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Like there he is. That's the guy. And and then like I don't know, it had to be a few minutes later, he's walking back and forth. And just something to me just made me look over to you and say, Slug looks like a fucking roadie. And you're like, that is the roadie. Like that's the guy that works here. Yeah. That's the sound guy. I was like, oh motherfucker. You got me. Well,
he was he was very old. The guy has so like I figured you knew it was a joke because of how old this roadie was.
I had no like look because I had said like the idea that I have of the way Slug looks is from like back in high school. Like that's in my mind. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you meet somebody, you always remember like a kid. Like I remember that kid. Like they can grow up, but they're always going to be that little kid to you. So like that's the image that I have of Slug in my head. And I was like, oh yeah, well, it's been a while. Of course he's getting old. And I was like, yeah, that's just what he looks like now. He's got gray hair. I couldn't tell if he had the little soul patch, and I knew Slug had the soul patch, and I was like, oh yeah, it's just a little bit of a little grayer on the side, and the soul patch is looking a little thinner these days.
Then Ant has just always looked old for some reason. He's been rocking that old man look for 20 years. I think it's the mustache.
Yeah. I'd have to look up picture. I could barely see him back there. They had quite the setup. So obviously it's Slug up front, right? He's doing this thing, and then they have a big huge DJ stand, right? And then it's got a
has like a whole screen on the front.
Yeah, runs across, and different
like
things are
video
coming
the
up.
whole time.
Yeah, really fucking cool. And in fact, to jump back before that, the first guy that opened was, I don't know if he was a local guy or what it was, but it was a DJ. And
no, he's on their label. So
oh shit. Okay. Yeah. I had never heard of him before. And that was another thing. It was like you had said that he was doing like some hip hop, like there was like jokes that were involved. So like his deal was he wasn't rapping, he wasn't doing anything like that. He was scratching, he was mixing, and he was following it. That whole monitor had all this. It was like a music video, right? And he was playing with that. So it was pretty cool to see, but I didn't get a lot. Like to me, it was just like it was like going to watch like an experimental band that just like jammed for 20-30 minutes, right? Like it's awesome.
That's kind of what a DJ set feels like, is like seeing like a jam band or something.
Yeah,
it has like similar vibes to it.
It was slightly hard for me to get into, but I like the scratching and stuff. Like that was something like back in the day. I was like, man, I just want to get me some turntables and fucking fuck the shit, fuck some records up, like just scratching. Of course, I never did it, but like that always intrigued me, man. Like the guys that can do that, where they're able to mix two different tracks together, and like that's a whole nother art in itself. And I tip my hat to anybody that can. Fucking awesome.
So I thought his set was hilarious because if you took, there's kind of like 3 layers to it, right? There's the visuals, and then there's the song that's playing, and then there's the sound that he's using the scratch with. And there were so many times throughout his set where it was like the scratch noise and the visual together kind of makes like a little joke. I'm trying to think of one, but so it'd be like,
it was good.
He's scratching the sound that's from a diss song, and then it's playing footage of the guy that's being dissed, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or it'll be like, the song that's playing is a song from the 90s, but he's scratching a more modern song that uses the same sample and like stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought it was cool. If you have like a good cool hip hop knowledge, like it was really cool the way he blended everything together.
And that's why it was lost on me. But another thing that to jump towards the end, another thing about that show is I realized how old and out of shape I am to stand from 7 o'clock to like we were there till like 11:30. Like, my back was going, my knees were like, you're done, motherfucker. Just sit down, just find somewhere to sit and relax.
It was so funny. You came up from the basement next morning, and the first thing you said, you're like, dude, my hips.
Yeah, dude, I felt like I got hit by a Mack truck, dude. Like it was embarrassing.
Yeah. We had a wonderful time.
We did have a wonderful time. We did. And speaking of that, shout out to before I forget, shout out to Paranoid, and he's doing a giveaway for his birthday. It goes up, I believe it's the 22nd. So if you're not in our Discord, he's got a couple pairs of he's got 2 shirts that he's giving away. He got donated from Alebrije is 2 packs of seeds, the seeds from the West Coast Tucadilla, and Back 9 donated some of his roll-on stuff that him or his wife had made. So if you guys aren't over in our Discord, definitely go check it out. You still got a little bit of time.
Hell yeah, I love the way that developed. That was a really good community coming together moment.
Yeah, really fucking awesome.
Just to have a little fun.
Yeah. You know, they're I don't know. I know Paranoid's got a little party he's going to be doing. He's hanging out, you know, enjoying his birthday, and to give back to the community for your birthday is just awesome. He's just a great dude, and this just speaks more, you know, more for him. So,
hell yeah,
hell yeah. Just as we're walking out, like I could barely hear anything, right? Like it was so muffled. Like I didn't know what was going on. There's a big crowd, and I'm walking out, and this girl walks up to me, and it made me laugh because the last time we went to a show together, when we went to Coheed, I had some random guy that came up and basically just caressed my beard. Now I go to see Atmosphere, and I have this random chick come up to me, and I can't hear a word she's saying. And I'm just honestly not that interested in finding out what she has to say. So I'm just looking at her, and I'm trying to take in what she's saying to me. And it was so, and to me, it was like one of those moments where it was like, you see somebody that you think you know, and they think they know you. And I'm like staring at her, and like, I'm just like awkwardly, like, cause I'm I'm literally just looking at her like, and I thought she said, "Do I know you?" And I was like, "No, I don't think so." And she just keeps staring at me, and then reaches out her hand, and I put my hand in hers. And then that was the end of our conversation. I turned and walked away because
it's so funny. Just that you're like, I have no interest in what she's talking to me about, but I'll hold hands with her for a second.
You know, it was a moment. I was in the moment. Didn't care much for what she was saying, but I'll touch her hand.
I'll touch her hand a little bit. Well, just don't stab me.
Don't stab.
There was also the woman behind us that was so annoying.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Anytime you go somewhere, there's always going to be those folks in the crowd. And it seems that we attract them because I don't recall. It wasn't too bad over in when we went to go see Coheed, but we just happened to be the 2 luckiest guys that got this chick behind us. She's got a backpack, and she's vibing the whole thing. She's loving it. Whatever she's on, whatever she was doing, she's getting into it.
So we're getting hit with her book bag like every 2 seconds. Eventually it hits me, and I just reach behind my back and I grab her book bag, and I don't let go. And then she turns around and she taps on our shoulders, and she talks to us for a second and apologizes. But then after that, she was screaming offbeat to every single song and just yelling and stuff. Everyone around us is like looking at each other like, what is happening right now? I noticed all the people around us were like, Jesus Christ. And then even one point, Slug is trying to talk about something serious.
Yeah.
She screams so loud, like you saw Slug flinch for a second. I'm like, all right.
It was one of those
like
screams
him up.
that you just yeah, dude. It's like that piercing, like even over the loud music, her yelling behind us was like when she would yell, you'd get like that feeling that you could get when someone's yelling in your ear, where it was like you could feel it in your body. She was not quiet. For a little girl, she was loud.
Yeah. Goddamn.
Too funny, man. Too funny.
So yeah, we went home, and we got Cumberland Farm subs at midnight. That's actually one of my favorite parts of concerts. Is just getting mad snacks on the way home.
The only problem with it is we had to hunt, man, because a lot of Cumberland farms, at least in your neck of the woods, are not open late. So we had to do a little bit of hunting. And but once we got there, we got our snacks, we got some drinks, we got some little candy here and there, and we went back and just enjoyed the rest of the night, smoking some and eating at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
So yeah, the next day when you left my house, you went straight to an expo. What was that?
Yeah.
Was that like?
Yeah, so I ended up as soon as I left your house, I went straight to XpoCanna. It was out in Connecticut, and it was at the AquaTurf. There was a bunch of different people that were going. I was going to link up with Master Yoda was there, and Iztig. We all got to hang out. That was kind of the crew that I was walking around with. But we ran into Peasy and Jesse from 2B Blunt. So I got to hang out with them again, and got some 2B Blunt stickers from them. Got to finally meet Mr. Sam from Grow Base. So I got some stickers there. Got a little bracelet. So
I love the pictures of him. He was just doing his thing. He was just killing it.
Yeah, awesome. Dude, it was awesome. I mean, obviously at noon, he was doing a little presentation each day. The first day he did his presentation, he was raffling away a tent. So anybody that would stay for his spiel on Grow Base got a little ticket. And at the end, he did the raffle. Someone won a grow tent, and they were all happy. So it was really awesome. The next day, he did a light. So
you got to get him in the timeshares.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Hey, he figured it out, man. He had a little crowd. He was holding it down, showing over everything, and I hope he did well, and I wish him the best on it. But I also got to meet Chonky Nugs. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He just recently joined over in our Discord. Really cool guy. So got to meet him, and Bearded Wood. So this is a guy that's out of Connecticut, and he does some woodworking, a bunch of different stuff. He sells like dugouts, custom little pipes, anything you can think of that could be made out of wood. He does it, and he does a really good job. So definitely check him out for any of your charcuterie boards you would like.
Charcuterie.
Yeah, but I got to hang out with them. We chilled there and walked around for quite some time. Got to meet some interesting people. I got to meet ChemDog. Didn't talk to him much. It was a little bit of a lot was going on, and slightly starstruck, and I didn't want to be like, start picking his ear. Like we were hanging out with him. Iztig has met him before. Iztig has actually given him some Alebrije stuff, so he's smoked some of that. And I'm actually almost positive if I heard it correctly that he said Iztig had just was going to see him, going to meet him the day after we recorded. So who knows? ChemDog may have listened to our podcast once. So
just one time.
Just one time. I highly doubt he's a regular. But yeah, so we got to meet him. It was can I please have your a picture with you, sir? Sweetest guy, really cool. I guess he has a dispensary that he's now linked up with in Connecticut that specializes in a lot of his ChemDog crosses and the stuff that he's made. So very interesting. Definitely got to go check them out just to see. I've never had any of that stuff, but I've definitely had crosses. So the 91 grapefruit from the community service, I'm almost positive is a line that Night Owl worked with some of that gear. I could be completely wrong, but I thought I did some research on it, and I'm pretty sure. So, but yeah, got to do that. I met this awesome cannabis breeder that's also in that area. And he loved autoflowers. He was so excited to hear about autoflowers and how terrible they are. Like, he was not having it. He was not hearing a word that any of us had to say. And it was funny because me and Master Yoda were standing there and we're talking to him, just trying to have a conversation. And you can tell when you're talking to somebody and they're so sold that photo periods are the only answer to cannabis, and everything out, auto flowers are just a waste of time. And that was basically his stance on it. And it was funny, after we talked to him for a little bit, we walked away and Iztig goes, yeah, I probably should have warned you, because I had this same conversation with him up in Boston. He goes, the guy doesn't want to hear about autoflowers and you're wasting your time talking to him. And I was like, okay, well, I wish I had known that back then. But it was funny because, he talked about how terrible they are, how the bud structure and this and that. And I jumped into the Discord and I looked up my most recent picture of the 91 grapefruit and I showed it to him. And he, all of a sudden, all those things that he was saying, he didn't really have a leg to stand on, because that's not what you're making them out to be. Like, he's talking about the low riders and the old school stuff and, this and that. So he kind of shut up for a second. And then all of a sudden he goes, yeah, but how does it store? Does it store well for a while? Like, like he was just looking for anything he possibly could to just shit on autoflowers. So it was obviously the end of the conversation. But
elitists in general are rarely fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the topic is.
That's very true. That is very, very true.
But yeah, shout out to Master Yoda for wearing the old school Grateful Nerd shirt.
Yeah, man.
The retro.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, he we had already been in there for a little bit, and then he goes, well, I'm coming in, guys. I know Nerd couldn't be here, but I'm bringing him in spirit. And I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? So I went up front, and that was the first thing I noticed, was his bright red t-shirt with your face posted right on it. And I do have to say, Master Yoda, your beard is looking mighty fine, sir. It's grown out very nice, dude, right? He's got to keep it up. So, but yeah, so we were hanging out there. They had a little taco truck out front. So I got a very pleasant, overpriced taco. It was awesome, but for how much I paid, it was not worth it. So we did that. And then I ended up going back home, kind of decompressed for a little bit. And then I was invited to the after party. There was a little bit of an after party. They had at a brewery, and they had this little, it's called the Emerald Lounge, that was outside. And it's basically just like a trailer. And it was a spot for us to all go hang out, and we could smoke. They had some stuff available. You could bring your own. They had some couches in there. It was really cool. I'm pretty sure it's a type of thing where you, like, if you wanted to have a party, they'll roll out like a trailer, and they bring all the apparatuses for smoking and this and that.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was really cool. They've got the lights down low. They got some neons in there. Everybody's talking. It's funny. I brought my wife. My wife does not consume, and she's been to a few other events with me, and as someone that's not had the slightest bit of interest in cannabis, she's really just my moral support, right? Like, she's just there with me, so I feel a little bit more comfortable, right?
Helps with the social anxiety.
Yeah. So my poor wife, she's just sitting there on the chair, just kind of like, trying to be nice, not staring at her phone or anything. She's just kind of like staring off into the wall or whatever it was. And she gets into the Emerald Lounge with us, and as soon as you open it, the smoke just comes billowing out. And I'm sitting in there, and we're smoking, and I look over my wife, and you can see her face is turning just a little bit red. And I was like, all right, we got to get out of here. It's too much for her. We got out, and I was like, she's like, yeah, I think I'm getting a contact high. Like, that was just too much. But we went inside, we went into the brewery, and they've got a really cool setup, man. It's, you can order food, really good food. We ended up getting some pizza. I got a margarita pizza. And then she had gotten something else, but we hung out there, got to talk. Corey from Focus Seeds was there. He was vending at the the show, so he ended up coming to the after party. So we got to hang out and talk with him for a little bit, and then all the other people that we were kind of hanging around that day, just eating some pizza and bullshitting for a little bit. So it was a fucking awesome day, man. My body was tired after that. Like I got home and I was like, I got my ass kicked by atmosphere, and then walked around an event all day. I was like, I am ready to go to bed, and I slept in. I ate some of Istig's edibles and went to bed.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's a good weekend though.
Yeah, man. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Can't complain. Some garden talk, dude. I know you recently just harvested something like yesterday, didn't you?
Yep, I harvested the 5 bonsais or small containers that I had. This was my first successful small container harvest because all my other attempts have died up until this point.
you pulled these through, man. They all look beautiful, and it's really cool to see, because I haven't grown that many of the crosses that I have personally made. So to be able to see them in your tent and be able to see all these different ones going on, some really cool stuff that I saw in there, man.
Yes, I think it's I did 1 ME1, 2 Yagmis, and 2 ME2s.
Hell yeah. And there was a gamut of different flavors that you were getting.
Yeah, no, sorry. 2 ME1s and 1 ME2, because the other 2 ME2s are in the big tent.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, the ME1s smelled like Pez to me.
That's so awesome.
Just weird. I also got all right. So do you think I actually got a purple phenol, or was that nitrogen toxicity? Because that one Yagmi was like black at the end of.
No, that was definitely senescence. That was definitely a fade, man. And it was amazing. And it kind of makes me, I had thought about, setting up for this next, breeding run to look through things. And when I saw that, because I'd kind of pushed Yagmi off to the side just because I'd gotten the bud rot. So I was like, well, we'll just try something else in the end.
I had pop too, and they like instantly died.
Oh, really?
And then I got one that has this crazy black senescence.
Dude, it's so wild. And from what I remember, like super, super funky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like really funky. So I don't know. I may change my mind and hunt through the Yagmis first and see if I find anything I like.
The black pheno.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that'd be cool. See, I got them drying now. It looks like between all 5, I probably after it's dried, just eyeballing it, probably about 4 ounces, 3 ounces.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And they were all like half gallons or smaller. So I mean, that's still really good. I mean, they crushed in those small little things, and good on you on keeping those alive and as well as you did. Because that can be tough.
Yeah, definitely. Then I got the 4x4 going. So I ran out of newts, and you brought me some, but because of that, so I have 5 plants in the 4x4 right now, but 2 of them are sharing a 5 gallon, and they're all like they grew wrapped around each other and everything. But those are 2 ME2s, and then I have backup Terry, and they're both finishing, and the nugs look good, but all the leaves are dead because I didn't have anything to feed them for however long.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It was tough, and it's shout out to the soil makers. That's the stuff that I had grabbed for you, and their stuff's great, man. That's I think this next run that I'm gonna do is I still had some craft blend to finish off, but I think I may do my full transition for this round and save that craft blend for the outside garden this year, and get all on the soil makers train and try that out and see how I like doing all of their gear, because it's been working out for you. You just have to make sure you have it to use it.
Yeah, that's true. So with that said, I had 1 empty earth box, and I re-amended it, and then I put eggnog special in it.
Nice. Hell yeah.
And
That wasn't the one that I
checked
ripped out of the soil, was it?
no,
Oh,
that I checked it before the show today, and it's like a little bit above my belly button.
nice.
At this
Oh
point.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, she's looking good, dude. She's gonna be a good size.
No, so that earth box still has nothing popped in it. I can see a little tiny mound on the soil. But yeah, so I popped a Mephisto strawberry nuggets and it didn't pop. And then I planted truck stop boner pills and it didn't pop. And then I planted another strawberry nuggets and it's still not popping. So I don't know what's happening, but I'm just
You're gonna
blowing seeds on this earth box right now.
You're gonna go in there one day and you're gonna have like 3 different plants that are gonna come up, and you're gonna be like, I don't know
Yeah.
which one's which.
I'm just gonna let them all go. And then yeah, so that's everything in the big tent. And then in the small tent, now that I have room, I still have the tangy bonsai that we have going.
Yep.
That one's looking pretty. It looks like a flower because it didn't grow any branches, so it's literally just like stem and then nug and leaf.
Nice. That'll be a fun one.
And then I planted orange stomper yesterday in that. But in my 2x4, the light is really low. So I'm gonna try to like train it, which I need practice in training anyways. I tried this scrog once and it died halfway through.
Yeah. That was the crash of truck stop boner pill 1.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. So it finished, but all the buds were like this big.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah. It was like it just lost steam or something. It was really weird. Yeah, I don't know.
I think I was also, if I remember correctly, that was when I was switching from salts to organic. So I'm sure I
I think that was around
that run.
I think
that feels like a lifetime ago, that run.
It does. Yeah. But now you've switched over to fully organic, just top dressing, and I know you enjoy it a lot more with the sips and all that stuff. It's so much easier.
So I also have sifting screens coming tomorrow.
Oh hell yeah!
Which I'm really excited about. So I have like multiple mason jars of Sift right now, and I've tried pressing it, just the Sift by itself in the rosin press, and it just comes out like black. It smells gross. It tastes gross. So I was looking into it. The homie Tree Jays, him and I have been researching it a bit this week.
Hell yeah!
And we talked about getting screens because with having a whole second grower down the street, we'll have plenty of like trimmings,
trim material. Yeah.
So we're just we both have vacuum sealers so we can freeze the trimming and then put it all together. I'm excited. I had to go with the screens over the bags just because not having to deal with water.
Yeah, right. Like that's just one less variable to worry about. You're getting that dry sift, and you don't have to dry it. You don't have to worry about accidentally molding it or something like that. Running it through those bags. So it'll be really interesting to see how your results come out. I know that a lot of people have good results with it. So I can't wait to see how you do.
Yeah, and I'm excited for being able to press it into hash rosin, hopefully getting a looser consistency that will help me step up my cart game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely that's not something that I have a lot of experience with. You definitely have more experience in the making the carts, but that definitely seems like something that I have heard where it seems hash rosin is going to be a better consistency, or you're gonna have that cleaner product to be able to load into those carts than say flour rosin. So
yeah,
maybe you'll have better luck, and because I know those can be a pain, man, especially doing all that work for the flour rosin and then having a cart that clogs on you sucks.
Yeah. It's not even the carts don't clog, but you'll hit a point where you vape off the whole bottom, and the rosin's still so sticky it's at the top.
Oh no, really?
And then the bottom's empty. So then like we have to take a like a safety pin and like swirl it back down.
Oh, jeez.
So like even and that's after I like cook it to temper or heat it to temper it in the sous vide machine and all that. But I got the gloves to do static tech, which is fun.
Right.
I watched videos of that. That actually seems kind of fun.
Yeah. That's it. That the hash world is something. There's so many different ways to do it, and there's so many within those ways to do it, the different texts and the different ways that people like to do it, and what works for you. So I'm excited to see you perfect your little hash making endeavor you got.
Yeah. So I figured since I have jars of Sift, like obviously they have just been sitting in jars forever, and they're probably all cured and gross at this point. But I figured I could use that for practice.
Sure. Yeah. I think you said that you had left it at the bottom of your trim bin, and they're just out in the open, oxidizing to whatever was going on in the air, right? So
well, I usually leave it in the trim bin for like a while, especially if I have two plants that are coming down close to each other.
Yeah.
But I also have I just have jars that go back as far as my first run and some Alebrije as well. So I just have these jars that are just like it's like sedimentary, just all my runs stacked on top of each other.
You can put little notes on it and be like, this is my grow diary. I've got this line was Compton Kool-Aid, and this one was hell yeah, there you go.
I got and this one as well.
That's it. Yeah, I've never personally had great luck with pressing trim bin heads or any of that stuff. I mean, it's it's not always the cleanest stuff, right? You're getting stock and plant material and whatever those heads that are coming off that are just the ones that are just falling off. Not always the best quality. But
it's hard because like dry Sift is like for me with the amount I'm growing, like it's a pretty rare commodity. So like blowing a few grams of it to a shitty press is hard. So it's not like I can sit there and practice all day until I get it right.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. It can be rough to run through that stuff. And when you had told me, you're like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting in the hash. I was like, listen, the first thing you have to remember is don't get bent out of shape after your first plant, because your first plant may not go well, right? And it's tough because limited on space. You only got so much material to work with, and I was like, just don't be down on yourself. It's one of those things where it's going to take time to learn. And now that we're learning a little bit more about what makes a good hash plant, and at least you'll have those signs to look at, right? You'll be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to pull this plant because I know that it's showing these signs that'll make for a good washer. And at least you won't be just trashing plants because you were ignorant to what to look for, right? Like if you grab that greasy plant, you're like, I'm going to wash that, and that's going to see you're going to get 2 grams from a fucking 400 gram plant or something like that. It's really, really upsetting.
Yeah. So I figured I could practice with whatever Sift I already have and just trimmings before I commit like a whole bunch of actual bud to it.
I'm gonna have to save some of my. I'm really bad at trim. I'm really. One thing I have to work on is being able to utilize the whole plant and not be like, all right, I'm just going for this, and I just chuck the rest, right? Like that's kind of like, I love seeing these people that they press and then they save their pucks for RSO, and they utilize the whole plant, and it's like they're squeezing dry everything they possibly can. I am very wasteful, and I'll have to start saving some of my trim so I can send bring it out to you, and so you'll have something to play with. So just have to
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I leave the trim on the trim bin for a couple days, and then I leave it in a spot where I have to walk by it every time, and then I just pick up the tray and shake it 3 times every time I walk by it for a couple days, and then I'll take the Sift out.
Yeah,
but so a lot of times I just compost everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing with all that extra material. But that's probably it would be a safe bet to say that that's probably why the Sift that you have trimmed, the keef and stuff like that you have pressed, probably doesn't come out great because it's just sitting out in the open. And from
true.
what the little bit of stuff that I have learned so far is it definitely seems like it is. You have to treat those heads like gold, right? You've got to work with them quick. You've got to work with them cold, and you've got to get it into a proper environment. And otherwise, it's going to oxidize and it's going to be poo-poo rosin.
Poo-poo rosin. Yeah,
Poo-poo rosin.
It looks like the Sift rosin I've pressed looks like baby poop.
Yeah, it's not pleasant.
Like when the baby's like 1 month old and it's like those black oil poops.
No,
That's what it looks like.
No. Oh, it's very true, but no. Oh, but that's cool, man. I'm excited for you to go down this journey. You know, I started my journey last year. I'd gone to a soil makers hash class, learned how to do it with them, and you know, I got my own washer and this and that, and I'd like to try other ones, but it's going to be exciting to see you go down this journey now. It'll definitely get you hooked. You're going to see the quality from flower rosin to hash rosin, and you'll get hooked for sure. For me, my you know, obviously there's not much going on in my garden other than those little babies coming up.
Babies.
I've got the
little babies.
Little babies. And dude, it's so funny, man. I'm down there. So it's actually, this grow is making me consider getting a one of those like little nanny cams in there so I can look in on them, because I'm going to be going away soon, going to hang out with Paranoid to go see Billy Strings, and I can't have those little babies and me not be able to look at them. So I'm actually considering getting a camera.
I've always wanted one just to do like a time lapse.
That would be really cool. Hell yeah.
That would be really fun. Cool.
But yeah, I'm gonna look in. I'm probably gonna look into one of those. But I got that 4x4, man. I'm about to clear out. I'm harvesting some of the stuff. I just pulled down the Spotless Mind. I don't know if it was something that I screwed up or it's just the natural morphology of the plant or whatever it is, but it came out a little bit shorter, and the buds are very airy. But this could be a good thing because it could be really good for you know, pressing, or I don't know that it's going to be a good hash plant because it is slightly greasy, but I think it smells really good. So we'll see how that goes. But I've got one of the other crosses that I made, the Indios Verdes times 91, and that one is smelling really good. I'm really excited. It's got them salsa terps for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how it cures.
Like the food or the dance?
Both. It makes you want a salsa. It's that sweaty ass from a salsa dance after you've been salsa dancing for the past 2 hours, and then you go to eat some salsa. That's how it smells.
Grateful Nerd is brought to you by Tostitos.
So I'm really excited for that. I'm really glad that those salsa terps definitely transferred over to that. So that's another one that I'll be excited to kind of hunt through. And then I've got some of the little small bonsais in there. I've got the pineapple stomper little bonsai that I'm running, and they're all coming down, and I'm going to clear that 10 out. And we got a couple tray to grows that are going to go in there, and we'll let her rip in the next journey down the breeding tent, or the first one, I should say.
Yeah, this is a fun project.
It's been a lot of fun, man. I'll tell you, it's making seeds is just once you do it, it's either you have a bad experience and you'd never want to do it again, or you get somewhat decent results like I did, and now you just want to make more and more. And speaking of that was I had messaged you last night because yesterday was Valentine's Day, and Night Owl had his Valentine's drop, and I was like, man, I just really I want to get something, but I want to get something with intention of possibly doing like a seed increase or something to mess around with later on. And I messaged you and I said, please talk me down off the ledge, because I was like, this is going to be something where for the wife, it's going to have to be asked for forgiveness and not permission. So I snuck away and I grabbed my debit card and I bought the Lonely Hearts Club auto regs. So I'm really excited, and I don't know when I'll ever get to them because I've got a couple of things that I want to do. But that's in the vault, and it's going to be ready for some future projects. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah, I was no help in deterring you from that.
Yeah,
I knew there was no stopping you.
No, you're like, yeah, that sounds fun. I was like, dude, you're not helping. And then I ended up messaging you later. I was like, yeah, I bought them. You're like, yeah, I knew there was no stopping you. And I was like, oh, thanks. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. At least when it matters, where I'm like, man, I think I'm gonna go to the liquor store today and grab a beer. You're like, no, fuck that shit, dude. What are you gonna do with that? So at least with the stuff that matters, you talk me down off the ledge. You're like, oh, he's gonna buy seeds for a future project. Fuck yeah, do it.
My wife says I'm the same way, where it's like, if I have my mind set about something when it comes to like a hobby I have, like I'm just gonna do it. Yeah.
You gotta deal with it. Gotta deal with the punches. It is what it is. I'm gonna now one thing I know we wanted to get into for our little media segment of our thing here is I ended up stumbling. I watched all of Yellow Jacket, right? And then all of a sudden the shows you may like come up, and I saw this and it said it was The Menu, and I was like, what the hell is this? And then I clicked on it and it went through the little preview, and it was a gnarly show, man. Like really
movie.
Cool. I've watched it twice now, right? So I watched it the first on Thursday, and then because we were going to talk about it, I wanted to just freshen my mind because I do tend to indulge while I'm watching TV and my mind isn't always there. So I wanted to make it just a little fresher. So I watched it again last night. I'm glad I did, man. It is definitely a movie that I could watch a few times.
Yeah, I haven't watched. Last time I watched it was maybe a few months ago, but I think it was my third or fourth time watching it. That's been one of my favorite movies, and it's only 3 years old.
Yeah. I'll let you kind of give the synopsis, the backstory on it, because you're going to explain it a lot better than I will, and I'll just kind of put in my uneducated answers into here.
Yes. All right. So The Menu is a horror movie that came out in 2022. It was directed by Mark Malloy, and it has an amazing cast. It has Ralph Fiennes plays the head chef, and then Voldemort. Yep. Nicholas Hoult plays like the main-ish character. You would probably know him as Tony Stoneham from Skins UK, and then he was Beast in a couple X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And then he's been popping up and stuff. I know him from Skins UK when he was a baby.
Oh, no shit.
Then you have Anya Taylor-Joy.
That was the female that he shows up with, right?
Yep. She's from like The Witch. She's been in a lot of horror movies. And then there's also a couple of like familiar faces. Like I noticed Arturo Castro from Broad City was one of the customers. He played one of the finance bros.
Yeah.
And John Leguizamo plays like a movie star celebrity that's like super egotistical.
Yep.
But yeah, the basic plot of the movie, without getting into spoilers at the moment, is that this couple goes to a remote island restaurant where they're supposed to have like the craziest dinner of their lives, kind of thing, like an 8-course meal. And
it's
then
like a whole experience, right? Like it's an island. All of the employees live on this island in a barracks style living situation, and they live there all what I could imagine is all year round, and they grow the food. The meat that is eaten is on the island. They butcher it, they process it, they smoke it, and everybody lives there, and it's that whole experience, right? Like I think what they said, one of the characters has said it's a biodome, right? Because it's everything that is done is right there on there. So that would definitely be a cool experience to go try. Very expensive, I imagine too.
Oh yeah. And then as the courses of the meal go on and on, they become like increasingly more fucked up. So yeah, one thing I love about the movie is that it's like a food-based movie. I love watching cooking shows. I love cooking myself and learning about cooking. And you don't see like a lot of food-based horror movies like that.
I think that's
at least not where usually the food is turning into a monster and coming alive and shit.
Right. It's not the folks that are serving it to you that really gives it this whole plot twist, right? And it's really cool the way they break it down, right? So like it's the movie's going on as the normal scenes, and then whenever a dish is coming up, they do this, they present it in this way where it's like they pan over it, they give you the name of it and the ingredients that are used in it. So like it really brings on like this different thing where it's definitely not just it wasn't just a horror movie, or it wasn't just a cooking show. They found a way to mold it together where it was really cool how they would do that, because that's what you'd see on a cooking show, right?
The little graphic of overlays.
What it is. Yeah, like it was really, really cool. So, and some of like you said, the ones that kind of came on like as the dinner progressed, they got a little bit gnarlier.
We'll get into spoilers now, so you can just skip ahead if you want.
Yep.
This is your last chance. Is that what all the movie YouTubers say? Like, this is your last chance to not get spoilers.
Get out now. But it's cool. So right. So like I guess to start from the beginning, and it for me, I think with a lot of the horror movies or like these movies where there's a lot of like subtle hints on things, you don't always pick them up the first time you watch it. And kind of from the beginning, it kind of turned there's kind of like this weird vibe between the main character and the female that he brings along, right?
Yeah.
He's like, just, you can tell that she's not into it. And the vibe that I got from when I was first watching it was like, oh, this is just my wife and me going to a cannabis event where she's completely clueless, doesn't care about anything, and it's just me enjoying the time, right? So just like back to what we were saying earlier, I was like, I could relate. I was like, this is me geeking out, and this is him geeking out, and he's just got his chick along with her, and they get on, and the other characters start showing up, and you can tell she looks over at one of them, and it's like they know each other, or there's some sort of weird vibe between them, right? So it starts off really quick about these little things that, again, when you watch it again, you start picking up on like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
That goes to so it's finally revealed in the course where they eat the crepes, right?
Yeah. No, tacos.
Is that? Oh yeah, in the tortillas, right? The chefs burn in, or like char in, like their like darkest secret into the
like different images, right? Like like one of the things for the main character, they were very specific. You couldn't take pictures of any of their stuff, right? You couldn't take pictures of the meal coming out, and he was taking pictures. And when the tacos came out, those pictures were burned into the tortillas. And then some of the other people, right? There was one, the older couple that was there. There was an image of him with a woman in question that wasn't his wife, and some different things with that. And
which was
the other
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah. So we end up finding out that the girl that came with the main character is not the original one, right? So that kind of spins things off, because now he's brought somebody else who wasn't originally on the guest list. And you find out that later on, all these guests were very were picked very specifically.
Yeah.
Right. They were picked to be there for a reason. And she wasn't part of that plan. And we end up finding out that not only did Homeboy pay to come to this wild dinner, he ends up knowing what's going to happen in the end anyways, because he was let in on it. But he's hired this prostitute or this whatever she is, an escort. If you will. Yes, she's definitely too fancy to be a prostitute. So she's definitely an escort. But you find out that so he's now brought her, and you can see why she doesn't like it because she's just paid to be there. But end up finding out that's on the tortilla with the older man. She was a worker for him at some point. So
yeah,
turns very interesting.
Very good. So yeah, to talk about like the overall theme of the movie a little bit, all of these like rich yuppie people were picked for different reasons. Like the older couple was picked because they like going to fancy restaurants for the prestige of it, and they don't actually care about the food.
Right.
And then the finance bros just want to milk money out of restaurants and all that. And so the head chef that is planning on killing everybody in the restaurant that night, his motive as the killer is like being a chef and making food is like a very like personal family thing, and it's typically a working class thing. So he sees like fancy restaurants and this like this like yuppie obsession with food as being like a perversion of what it means to actually be a chef. And this is kind of like his revenge, right? And that was even realizing that Anya Taylor-Joy was an escort. He offers her, you can stand on our side with us because you're a working class person. You're not a yuppie like these other people.
Yeah. She's like, am I still gonna die? She's like, well, yeah, you're still gonna die. Are you gonna die with them, or are you gonna die with us? But we end up finding out in the end, she's the only one that makes it out alive.
Yeah, so, which I loved the ending of the movie. Yeah. So she like realizing what his motive is, what we just discussed, she kind of plays into it by asking for a cheeseburger. And she's like, I don't want any of that fancy shit. I think about that quote all the time where he goes, because I love eating gas station food. Yeah. And I eat gas station cheeseburgers all the time. But when he's like, I'll make it taste like the cheap ones that your parents could barely afford when you were little.
Yeah.
That's a very specific flavor that I understand because I eat shitty cheeseburgers all the time. And there's something about like cooking a cheeseburger is good, getting one at a restaurant is good, but there's something about just disgusting cheeseburgers that has its own thing to it.
Oh yeah. No, definitely. So we end up getting to that point where she right, it was planned why she picked the cheeseburger, right? So there's at one point where the guy she's with, the main character, he's pissed the chef off to no end because he's really screwed this all up, right? Like he says, like you're the reason why this is all gone to hell. So
and he's a poser. He's like,
yes,
the main character is the kind of guy that like when he gets into a hobby, he buys all the gear, but then never learns the skills. But he can brag because he has all the gear, right?
Yeah. Yep. So it ends up coming out where everybody knows they're pretty much they're going to die at that point, right? And the chef comes up and talks to him personally, and ends up saying, go get in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
So he brings him into the kitchen, and you can tell that he's got this total breakdown, like he's got no idea, and he ends up getting this stuff, and he cooks this meal for the chef. And it ends up being terrible, right? It was undercooked lamb. And that was one of the other things that I loved about whenever like things went bad or how they presented the menu, right? Like that first one where it says the sous chef's The Mess, right?
Yep.
Where he comes out and he's like, yeah, my life's, basically like his life's just terrible. And he ends up shooting himself right there on the floor where everybody's eating. And that's kind of where things really, really start to turn, right?
Yeah.
Kind of jumping around here.
But they still present it as if it's the dish, and then the dish looks like blood and guts on the floor.
Yeah. It's really cool how they did it. I definitely recommend anybody watch this, even if they're listening and haven't. It's a really cool story, and you may catch those little things that I'm talking about because now you know what to look for. But so the main character, he gets into the kitchen and makes this, and it goes awful. And I really, the thing that bugs me about this is I really want to know what the chef said to him, because he takes off the jacket and you can just see he's got this blank stare on his face. He's got his mouth open. He knows that it was just everything's gone to hell. And he just slowly walks to the back of the kitchen and then disappears, and you don't see from him. And then we end up finding out where he brings the escort, the chef brings the escort into the kitchen and now sends her to go get a barrel that was supposedly forgotten by somebody. And then we end up finding out it wasn't actually forgotten. It was just kind of something that worked out. Right. And she goes to retrieve the barrel, but while she's doing it, she ends up finding a radio, and she radios for help. And the Coast Guard comes, and just like everything else in the movie, it's scripted, and it's all part of it. Like dude, that totally threw me for a loop, right? So wild how this guy comes in, and you think that they're all going to be saved or something's going to happen.
Yeah, the cop walked in.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, I was like, they're going to ask for help, and they did a really good job of not wanting to ask for help, right? Like they're kind of like in the situation where they're all just really quiet. And he gets the signature, he gets his autograph from the guy, the actor, and walks away, and it says help on it. And he gets halfway down the hallway and realizes this, okay, they need help. So he turns around and he pulls his gun out, and the Coast Guard's got his gun out, and it turns into this whole little standoff, right? And then as he's walking up to go to the chef, he pulls the trigger, and it's a lighter, and they light a candle, and you end up finding out that it was all part of the game. It was all scripted. So fucking wild.
I thought you were going to say, because you were talking about Tyler having to go and cook the crappy meal in the kitchen, when Anya Taylor-Joy goes to get the barrel, I believe you can see that he has hung himself in the back room.
You can. Yeah, I forgot to get into that. But yeah. So the chef tells him something. He walks into the back to never be seen again. And when she goes to get that barrel, homeboy is hanging in the in another room. So lots of death, lots of death.
Yeah. So then there's also the finale, right? Which I think is hilarious. Everybody turns themselves into s'mores, and then they light the whole building on fire.
The thing that cracks me up, right, is it's at the end, and she's now had the guy make the cheeseburger for him, right? So the chef has made the cheeseburger, and one thing that he mentions in the when he's talking to her is that that he's lost joy in it, right? The chef has lost joy in the fact of making food, and it's I imagine that that's probably what got them there, to the point where we're going to kill everybody. So he's lost his way at some point. And while she's going to get that barrel, and she finds the radio, there's various pictures and articles of the chef in his cottage, right? I believe it was in the cottage. And the last picture that she comes up on is him smiling. What I would assume that he was very young, and he's making a cheeseburger. So she sees that and can see that, he's told me that his life's gone to hell, but look, he enjoyed this, right? So this was kind of her last ditch effort, was to make me the cheeseburger, feel that little bit of joy, and maybe I'll be able to get out of here, right?
Yeah.
And She puts the $10 on the table because he had said that it was going to cost her $9.95 or whatever it was, right? And she takes a bite of it and she says, "It's good, but my eyes were bigger than my stomach," or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right? Can I get it to go? And then all of a sudden, like, you see his face and you can see that, oh shit, like something may actually, I honestly, I was expecting her to go walking down the hallway and then just kill her. But
Yeah.
he boxes up the food and he just turns her loose.
Yeah.
And then after that,
he's like, she gets it.
Yeah. So it was cool. That was cool. And she escapes out on the Coast Guard, the supposed Coast Guard boat. But yeah, so we come to the end where what I find so funny is they still hand out the checks.
Yeah.
And they still hand everybody the checks, and everybody's putting their cards on the table like it fucking matters if they pay it or not. And then they pay it, they get their, and I find it so, and they get these goodie bags, right? And the goodie bags have different various things. And the one older couple that got the husband got his finger chopped off, that was in the goodie bag as well.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how they say, like, they just go through those motions, even though they're about to kill everybody. They give them the check, they give them the goodie bags and say thank you. And then they get ready for the dessert. And I'll let you kind of explain how that goes through their the big ending.
Big ending. Yeah, so they the dessert course is s'mores, and they pour like crushed up graham crackers all over the floor. And then you've watched it more recently, but I think it almost looks like bulletproof vests made out of marshmallows, right?
Yeah, so they put like these, like, they're like the shoulder like shawls, and it's all these little marshmallows strung together, and they're all just sitting in their chairs, and
it's like a chocolate helmet, right? A chocolate hat.
Yep.
That they wear.
They put chocolate hat on there. They basically created, the whole room was a s'more, right? So it was all the graham crackers were on the table, but they did it in a way where when they zoomed up, it was like an art, right? So you had that, you had these different things that like yellow and white. I don't know what it was, but they did a whole design on it. And then there's s'more, and then he's going through the whole spiel about how fire cleanses, right? Like that fire is what makes the s'more. He already says s'mores are an abomination. He says the fire is what transforms it. Pretty fucking gnarly. And he goes up and he grabs the that coal from inside the fire, and he walks up and he's talking while he's holding on to this coal. And the last thing he says is, "I love you all." And he goes to drop it, and it goes, "We love you too, chef." And it was even the people that were that came to enjoy the dinner, the way they panned it out, you could see that they all screamed it too. And then that was it. Everything started catching on fire. They turned on the gas, the stoves, and they all stood there like soldiers in like you know what I mean, like they had their mission, and they were sticking to it, and fucking blew the place up, and that was it.
Yeah.
Such a fucking
great movie. I love movies that are highly stylized like that. And I also like movies that are very theme heavy, like almost allegorical, like almost like a modern fairy tale, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So I like,
it was a good one, man.
Those are my favorite kind of movies. You're just like,
I'm so glad I just stumbled upon it, because it was, like I said, I had just finished something and it popped up, and I had saw that it had to do with cooking and horror. So I sent it to you and Alebrije, and I was like, look, a video that both, and I didn't know that you guys had already, seen it. Of course, as usual, I'm catching it way too late, but they're like, oh yeah,
only
it's a
3
fucking
years.
awesome movie.
Yeah. So we rocked. We took my mom and my son to the Science Museum because they're doing a Valentine's Day, like arts and crafts kind of thing.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. So I'm glad to hear that you guys got out. it was a sad Valentine's Day for me. I sat at home alone and ate taquitos while my wife and daughter went to gymnastics. So not quite as fun as you had over there.
Yeah, we went to the science museum, and then we came home and we ordered pizza, and then my mom hung out for a while. Then after she left, we put the little one to bed. We watched first episode.
Yeah. Nice.
So there's 2 episodes out right now, and then they're doing it week to week. So we're gonna watch
every
the second
week.
one.
They're gonna release 2.
I think 1. They just did 2 to kick it off.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So we'll probably watch second episode during nap time today.
Nice. Hell yeah. Well, man, I think we got all the stuff that we wanted to hit, man. You got anything to lead us out, or any plugs? No plugs for me. No plugging me is what I meant to say.
No plug. We already
Anything
did
else,
that
man? Yeah, we did.
No, just shout out to everybody. I've seen a lot of like positive community movement lately. It's been really awesome to see. Very, very heartwarming. Just a lot of different, like, our community just has all these different moving pieces at all times, and like just everybody always helping each other out and being like, oh yeah, I'm good at that. Let me do that for you, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely want to encourage other people in the community, man. Like, I know I've talked with some people that are, making videos or want to make videos, and you get a little bit of self-conscious, or you think it's not going to be good, or it's not going to turn out the way you want it. Just fucking do it, man. Like, look
at us.
Yeah, look at us. Exactly.
If we could do it.
So I want to encourage everybody out there, man. Just follow you, whether it's your dreams or not, or it's just something you want to try. Just fucking do it. And what's the worst? You put it out there and it doesn't go well. Oh well, who the fuck cares? Doing your own thing.
We'll thumbs up
do it. Absolutely. That's the one thing, man. I'm always going to support the community in any kind of way, man. If someone's doing something that they love, something that they enjoy, of course you have to enjoy it. Gonna get support, man, because I love to see other people's passions and stuff, because it's what drives me. It's what gives me that little bit of boost to see somebody really, really involved with what they're doing or what they want to do, or they have aspirations to do this. And it gives me a little bit of that fire in myself too, not to compete with it. Not in that sense, not that I'm competing, but it's good because it's seeing other people in the community doing what they do. It drives other people, because you get that you get those vibes from other people, and the community, pushing the community, is definitely not competing, but being able to see everybody grow and do what they enjoy.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna leave with, man. Keep doing your shit, and who the fuck cares what other people fucking say?
Yeah, works for me.
Peace.
Peace.